I'm going to be talking about Hilaria Baldwin because I think about her all the time and she's my Roman Empire and I don't have anyone to talk to this about. So I'm just gonna talk about it. I don't know how to make YouTube videos. I don't know how to edit. So this is more like a little podcast and of me just talking to myself pretty much. So the Hilaria Baldwin stuff, the first time I saw it was, or that I saw anything about it was in 2020 when it came out that she was faking her Spanish persona and her Spanish accent. And there was a video of her, like, not apologizing, but addressing it. And she's saying pretty much, I've lived both in Spain and in the US, and my family lives in Spain, and I'm that person that grew up speaking both languages, and sometimes I have an accent, sometimes I don't. And when I saw that video, I felt for her because I'm actually from a Spanish-speaking country, and I actually grew up speaking both languages, so I could relate to sometimes my accent changes a little bit, or sometimes I'm thinking in English and I kind of forget something in Spanish, or vice versa. But then I see that she's not from Spain and her family's not from Spain. She just lived in Spain. And then I start seeing like all the stuff that came out, and I see her accent too, like what her accent actually was. 'Cause that took me back. I was like, wait, hold up. No one who is a native speaker of a language will then go and adapt an accent to that level. Like, if you are from the United States and you were born and raised in the United States, and then you go as an adult to any other country and then learn their language, like, you're not going to come back and speak to your family. Like, if you go to Japan, you're not going to come back and then speak to your white family and friends in a Japanese accent. Like, that doesn't happen. So then I was like, oh, wow, this girl is just, no, this girl is not being truthful. And I looked into the story, and it just is so funny to me to this day, because, so here's a timeline of her relationship with Alec, okay? They meet in February 11 at a New York City restaurant, and at the time, Hilaria was a yoga instructor. And they move in August of that year, so that's fast. A year later, Alec proposes. 2 months after the proposal, they get married, and in 2013 they have their first child. So 2011 they meet, 2013 they have their first child. So fast relationship. And a part of me thinks that she, actually, this is genuinely my conclusion that I came to, is that she met him in 2011, and she was just like, you know what, I'm gonna seduce this man. And I get the vibe that he would like an exotic woman. He wants something different. He probably sees white American girls in New York all the time, and maybe having this, this young woman speaking with a Spanish accent awoke something in him. So she was like, you know what, let me get this man. I'll probably spend a few nights with him, have some fun, get some cash out of that. And then they fell in love, and she had to keep up the facade. That's the only explanation I can find for this, because I don't understand why else she would do that. Because how else does this benefit her life? It doesn't benefit her life. She can just be, she can be an attractive white woman. Like, she'll be fine. She'll do great. Not that, sorry, white American women. White people from Spain are still white. So yeah, that's how they met. In 2020 is when there's a Twitter thread and people start talking about her accent, and people from her high school start coming out and being like, I went to high school with her. She did not have an accent. And lots of clips surfaced, and it was a huge thing. Everyone was following it, and then it died down. Then A few years later, Alec goes through this tragic situation on the set of a film, and I think she's going to court or something, or they're dealing with it, and she talks to paparazzi. And if you've seen that video, her accent is so strong. Like, she looks like she learned English as an adult with that accent. I mean, it's crazy. And it's so weird because she's interviewed in like, the paparazzi is looking for her, and she's in a very stressful, what they're going through is extremely horrible and stressful and tragic. And that is the accent that comes out. Like, you have to, at that point I was like, whoa, like, what is the brain on this woman? Like, I don't understand. And here's the interesting thing about her. Her Spanish is really good. It's really, really good. She sounds like a native Spanish speaker. It's better than her English, 100%. And I'm not from Spain, so maybe people from Spain with a Spanish accent can be like, oh, it doesn't sound very authentic. But as a Spanish speaker, I hear her and I'm like, that's a person from Spain, 100%. So a part of me kind of thinks, like, maybe her brain just works different. Like, maybe her brain just works different. The part that language is processed is different. And she can't transition from in and out of Spanish without an accent. I thought that for 10 seconds. Then I stopped thinking that for a few reasons. One, it does not happen to her. When I hear her speak Spanish, she does not speak in an American accent. So that wouldn't make sense. Two, she presented herself to be from Spain. That's the part. If she would have said, you know what, I love Spain, I lived in Spain a long time, but I'm from Boston originally, like, been very clear about that. But in her interviews and all the stuff that's come out, she is so vague and very much implies that she is a Spanish woman. So if she wouldn't have been doing that, then I'd be like, you know what, maybe something happened and she ended up with an accent. Why? I don't know why, but maybe because her Spanish is so good. But no, I don't think that's the case. And also because of how much her accent changes, and it changes in the most random times. So when she was in this this famous clip where she's like, oh, how do you say a cucumber in English? That does not happen. Like, usually when your accent would change, for example, if I'm speaking Spanish to my family, if I'm back home and I've been in an environment where I'm speaking a lot of Spanish, then I'm more likely to speak English with a bit of an accent. Just because my brain works that way. Like, for example, if I'm with my family and we're like, oh, vámonos a McDonald's. Like, I'll just say McDonald's. I won't say, oh, vámonos a McDonald's. Like, you just kind of keep it that way. Like, if you're transitioning, sometimes you just keep the same accent, and then I'll do the same thing in English. Like, if I'm here in the United States and I'm like, oh yeah, let's get a burrito, I just say burrito. I don't say, yeah, let's get a burrito. But if I'm speaking Spanish, I'm going to say it the right way, So that's the only example in which I can think of, okay, maybe her accent changes. But she doesn't do it in those examples. Like, she will do it speaking to native English speakers. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, how are you a native English speaker speaking to other native English speakers, and your accent is coming out crazy? It's coming out crazy. Ooh. So yeah, I just can't stop thinking about her, and I'm so curious about Alec's perspective on this. Like, did he know? Did the accent have a slow fade out? Because you see it change, and then in the Instagram video where she's addressing it, it's pretty much gone. But then when you watch the show, it's there, but like light. Like, you do hear it a good amount, but it's light. But in some parts of the show, oh, it's going off. It's going off. There's not much to recap in the show. The show mostly focuses on their life together, on, what it's been like for them to go through the trial and the loss of Alex's coworker by him at accident, like how tragic and horrible that whole thing was and how they've been coping with it. They so briefly touch on the scandal of her accent. It's so brief. It's pretty much what she says in the Instagram video, saying like, yeah, my family lives in Spain. Like, pretty much the same thing, just adding like, it was hard to see so much hate. Yeah, she doesn't seem like I kind of like her in this show. Like, she seems kind of likable. So that just makes me think that, this was just a facade that went too far. Is it an offensive facade? I don't think so. I saw a commentary saying things like, oh, it's how dare she pretend to be an immigrant that's struggling with English when that's hard for so many people. And while that's true, I don't think it's as true for white people or European people or people with European features who are attractive and good looking conventionally. So I don't think it would have been that hard. I mean, if she was a real good looking white woman from Spain in life. Now, if she would have been pretending to be a Mexican, Ecuadorian, Peruvian, that's a different story. But Spanish, you can appropriate Spanish culture. The Spanish have appropriated enough. They'll be fine. I don't care about the Spanish and appropriating their culture or anything like that. So she gets a pass from me on that. But, people can feel the way they want to feel. I personally just find it really funny and really weird. Yeah. So that's about it in terms of my thoughts about Hilaria Baldwin. There wasn't much new in the show. She's just still faking the accent. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have one more comment. Her kids, these are the name of her kids: Carmen Gabriela, Rafael Tomás, Leonardo Ángel Charles, Romeo Alejandro David, Eduardo Pau Lucas, María Lucía Victoria, Catalina Irene. Catalina Irena. What? That is crazy. 3 names is crazy. I don't know if that's common in Spain, but in Latin America, 2 is common. 3 is out there for a white American woman and a white American man to be naming their kids that. That is so funny. Like, these kids are they speak Spanish. I mean, shout out to her. She's teaching her kids Spanish, and I really respect that. It's going to be very useful for them. It's going to be useful for other people in the world who speak Spanish in this country. So that's great. But I think it's so funny, like, little Romeo Alejandro David is going to go to school and, one of his classmates is going to be like, oh, cool, you're Latino too. Where are you from? It's going to be like, no, I mean, my mom has family that lives in Spain. So, yeah, my mom has family that lives in Spain. That's why I have a very Spanish name and I speak Spanish fluently. But yeah, that's the conclusion for my thoughts on Hilaria Baldwin. If I was an actual YouTuber who knew how to edit and had time for this and knew that more than one person, aka me from another account, is going to watch this video, then I would do a deep dive and go off on this because I'm obsessed. But no, I have an adult job. I need to be up tomorrow morning. I can't be thinking of Hilaria Baldwin, not in this economy, not in this state of the world. She cannot consume this much brain power. So good night.